Action. Where are you no longer going to... I think I got an extra. Hang on a minute. Did I put an extra word in there? That's like 3 o'clock in the morning stuff there. It's your fault, James. So what are you no longer going to procrastinate on? So I want you guys to take a couple of minutes, and I want you to think about what is it. I want you to write it down in your book. But no doubt, show of hands, guys. Is there something that you guys have been procrastinating on? Show me a show of hands. Yeah, pretty much everybody. So again, with your pen and paper, guys, I want to see you writing down what is it that you've been procrastinating on. And I want you to draw a line in the sand, and that's not going to happen anymore. Now, guys, what are you no longer going to procrastinate on? Because again, money loves speed. Whether you do it right, you do it wrong, perfection's just going to stop it from happening. What is it you've been talking about, thinking about, planning that just hasn't happened? Thing with me? Who's going to share something? Who's been procrastinating?
I didn't write it down because I wasn't procrastinating. I just fixed it before I came. It was to get a lead generator, someone that's responsible for getting appointments set up for me to speak to them.
Love it. So you just pulled the trigger, you did it. How far into it are you?
I've hired the person's working for a long time, so I just now have her doing the job for me. And we've got a script, we've got a process. We just, when I get back, I'm going to train her on it.
Beautiful. Love it, love it. Anybody else? Elliot?
I've got actually two here. One is learn the 10K presentation inside out. So you know it from any aspect and you can jump in and jump out of it.
Yep.
And then the other thing that I've been procrastinating a lot about is I want to re-record the wrong presentation in my own voice so that it makes sense on my website.
Yep. Beautiful. Love it.
I've got some email campaigns and some sequences that I need to write. I just haven't done it.
Yep. And what do you think's stopping you? Is it the perfection? Like, why is it that you haven't moved forward? Like, what is it?
Pardon?
Why haven't you done it to date? Curious?
I don't know. I think I like to do that kind of stuff.
Yep.
So I'm saving it.
That's a good one. That's a bloody good answer.
But I won't do it.
Yep. Love it. Okay, cool. So again, guys, at the end of the day, though, what have we been procrastinating on? Remember, money loves speed. Okay, so let's move in that direction. Okay, so standards. Basically, guys, look, you get your musts. You don't get your shoulds. Like, what do they say? You just should all over yourself. At the end of the day, you know, like your physical body is your exact must. Your bank balance is your exact must. The level of income you have right now is your must. Okay, so you get your must, you get your standard. So the trick is you got to find a way, like as an example, and I've done this a number of times with different clients, but like I've encouraged them to go buy a house that they can't afford, like not even freaking close, right? Like what's the max? Because in most, in the textbook, it's going to say, well, look, if you go and buy the biggest house and the one that the bank will give you the most money for, what's going to end up happening? Well, you're going to, go belly up and it's going to be a big nightmare unless we manage the state, we change the story, and then the strategy fits. Buying that monster house would be the best thing you ever did. And what happens every 10 years in the real estate market? If you don't include 2008, for you folks in America, right? But at the end of the day, it doubles every 10 years, right? So again, and if you look at, well, that's just what happens. Every year, apart from, there was one 10-year period, which was in the Great Depression, basically where real estate doubled every 10 years. And especially in the U.S. right now with 2008, it's going to, it'll be like every 6.5, the rule of sevens, every seven, you get a 10% return every 7.2 years, you double your money, right? The rule of seven. But at the end of the day, buying that expensive house and then finding a way to pull it off could be, one of the best things that could ever happen. But it can also be a, one-way trip to go and belly up. You've got to make sure that the state and the story are matching up. Intensity and purpose. Again, you guys ever heard me talk about sales? There's a big difference between having a conversation and then having a pitch, right? When it's time to pitch, you got to show up with a level of intensity. You got to show up with a level of purpose. You got to show up with an outcome in mind long before the phone call. And you got to, again, the voice needs to go up. The level of passion needs to come through your voice. You need to hear this stuff. And again, I think if you can go back to your why and think about the 250,000 people that go belly up literally every 12 months in America, and then you've got the opportunity. Remember, guys, truly, as a business coach, you are saving lives, you are saving marriages. Marriages break up tenfold over lack of money than they do lack of love. Okay, so we're a business coach. We step in and we help somebody build their upsell, downsell, cross-sell, build one of, like a funnel and have a back-end sales system. You're literally you're keeping kids off the street, legitimately. I want you to be thinking about that as you're making these calls. But again, and when you make these calls, that's what I want to be, to have coming out of your, and ideally, out of your, not just out of your voice, but out of your soul. Like I'm here to serve people. So then when a guy on the phone says, oh yeah, Karl, look, I've heard about this stuff and, business building and marketing, but I'm good. Bullshit, he's good. If he's 95% of North America, he doesn't have 2 months of income sitting in his bank account, right? So again, remember, there's sympathy and empathy, right? If you're on a boat throwing up, sympathy is me coming and throwing up with you. Empathy is bringing you a towel, a grab ball, rubbing your back, glass of water, putting you to bed, right? So when they say, oh no, I'm good, don't buy into it. It's a load of hogwash, right? And by the way, once in a while it's going to be the case, but 9 out of 10 times that's not. Make sure that you're showing up with that attitude, that level of determination. Your thermostat, as I said a minute ago, the bottom line is, your weight, your health, vitality, the amount of energy that you have rolling through your body. We all have a thermostat. We've all heard the story of the guy who wins the lottery, and then what happens 5 years later? Broke with an addiction. And his friends that he had when he won the lottery are no longer his friends, by the way, or her friends, right? Why is that? Well, because they didn't earn the dough, the thermostat didn't go up. And in some cases it does, by the way, and they go on to live this incredible life with this amazing gift that was given to them through a lottery ticket or what have you. Right? But that is the 10%, not the 90%. Right? So again, making sure, just understanding, guys, that you guys, and this is the fundamentals, guys. These are the basics. This is not rocket science by any stretch. But the magic here, like Vince Lombardi, we perfect this stuff. We take it to another level. Things become exciting. How many times do you think, as a guy who coaches, I've spoken to somebody about running a webinar, running a seminar, and heard, I've tried that. Like over and over and over again, correct? Well, obviously, it needs to be, I will find a way. I'm going to get it done. Start saying that to yourself, and all of a sudden, guess what's going to happen? And I know this is, James 101, right? With his webinar, his seminar. You listen to his elevator pitch. He's the most popular guy in the room all of a sudden, right? Again, that's the power of an elevator pitch. But at the end of the day, the guy's so clear on what he's trying to achieve, which is to build this online funnel and this online business. And I got zero doubt. Well, I mean, it's already happening, and that's exactly where he's going to get to, because it's the level of intensity and purpose he's bringing to it. But at the end of the day, he's not like, I've tried that. He is trying all this stuff, then he's dusting himself off, measuring the results, and then going again. So be very, very careful with that statement and, inside your mind, no, I've tried that. How many times, again, live events? Oh, no, nobody's going to live events. Webinars. Well, nobody's going to webinars anymore. We gotta knock that out. That's absolutely not the case. And if you're forceful enough, determined enough intestinal fortitude, you will fill that event. You will do it in record time.
You told a story on there's an MP3 on the system, and if you've not listened to this, you should. There's Karl doing I think they're doing like the 5 parts profit thing. But you told the story, and I've started using this about Brett Favre. He pronounced his name wrong. People made funny of it.
Yeah.
Brett Favre in 2005 was the NFL leader in touchdowns thrown. He was also the NFL leader in interceptions.
Yeah.
The fact is that you get to the top by making a whole bunch of mistakes, right?
This is it.
So the guys that came in second just didn't throw as many as he did, but he knew he was going to get caught more than anybody else. He was also going to make more touchdowns.
Yeah.
I took that to heart. I'm like, you know what? Just try it. If it sucks, it sucks, but just get it done.
I love it. And well, another decent example was the major league, the playoffs are going on right now. Look, the best hitter in the entire league hits like 350, right? That means like 7 of 10 times roughly this guy misses the ball completely, right? Like he's striking out or he's running the first base like a doll, going, look, it's not, kind of just jogging so that a coach doesn't give him hell when he gets back to the dugout, right? It's over 7 of 10 times. So exactly to that point. Yeah, I love it. Brett Favre, Favre, am I saying it right? Favre? My dad's a huge football fan now, so I'm probably screwing up the guy's name. But anyway, so you need to do that. So yeah, awesome example. Know your numbers. Guys, you've got to know your numbers. Within your own business, the number, really for you guys as business coaches, look, the number of leads, the number of consultations, the number of follow-up to consultations, and the number of clients. Like put your hand up if you guys have a world record week. Nobody's got that. Everybody needs that, right? So let's just say, let's say I'm a coach and I sell $2,000 a month coaching. I'm reasonably new. I'm David Lisa, right? I closed 3. Love that name. So 3 clients, right? So what did I do this week? I did $6,000 of sales. Well, there's my world record. Okay, and if you've got any, this room, no question, wouldn't be here if you weren't competitive as anything. You write down 6,000, but the trick is every week you've got to acknowledge your score, right? So then next week I don't sell anybody, I put a goose egg. And the next week I do 1 client and it's $2,000. Next week it's 2, it's 4. My world record is still $6,000. You write it down, and this is, try not to do it with your smartphone. In spreadsheet, I'd be doing this with your hands and a pen. I believe it to be significantly more powerful, but have a world record week. And by the way, build a world record week for your clients as well. Same deal. But at the end of the day, you need to know your numbers, guys, right? Like I remember sitting down with a business partner many, many moons ago, and we were just talking about $1 million. I'm like, oh yeah, that's $83,000. It's 3,000. What is it? It's $2,970 a day. It's $19,370, I think, a week, and then it's $83,333 a month. By the end of the day, like I basically knew what $1 million was, right? He's like, how the hell do you know that? And I'm like, I'm not really sure, but I want to make $1 million one day. So I kind of just took out a calculator one day, worked it out, and then memorized it, right? At the end of the day, you need to know, like, if you've got, 10 clients at $2,000 a month, that's $240,000. Like just knowing what I'm getting at here, I'm the guy who failed out of grade 8 math, right? My dad can attest to that. So anyways, but you don't need to be like some rocket scientist, and the numbers that you need to know don't need to be like, super duper impressive, but you need to know some generalities. And the ones, again, that you need to be, knowing and then also tracking are your own KPIs in terms of what it is that you're doing with your business. But there is no doubt, I remember hearing when I was a kid, my English teacher said that somebody's vocabulary, will go a long way in determining how much money they make. Right? Like, the number of big words and whatnot that they use type of thing. And I would take a direct correlation to that a business owner that knows his numbers got a significantly better chance of doing big numbers than one that doesn't, end of story. So I would start, not only learning these numbers, but also measuring these numbers and then refining as you're going. I think a great way for you guys to do it, this is the way I did it as a business coach. I just tracked every single week my world record. And then, I did $6,000, and then I did $8,000, and I did $10,000, and it kept going up and up and up. And my world record kept getting broken, and I felt great. Elliot.
It's interesting you state that, and I've done it, or I'm in the process of doing it and stuff, partly because I'm in temporary housing right now. But if you go into any car dealership, into the general sales guy's office, whoever is responsible for all the salesmen, all of the sales managers on, you will see a whiteboard, and everybody's name there, and everybody's sales by day, what they're expected to do, or in some way. So that, and it's not just
peer pressure.
The company knows what you're doing, it's so that the sales guys are pushed.
And they want to be at the top of the list, right?
Exactly.
Look, there's 4.
Bonus for the top of the list.
I tell you guys, there's 4 things that motivate staff: rank, recognition, prizes, and then money. And then money is the last one, by the way. So we're talking about here is competitive instinct, right? So again, that without question, I got no doubt that, and I've seen that. I know exactly what you're talking about. Same thing when selling advertising. There's a leaderboard. Who doesn't want to be the top of the leaderboard? Like everybody does, right? So anyway, so what's the primary question that drives your business? Mark Zuckerberg, I read an article, what was it? So the question that he's got is primary, like all of us have a primary question inside our own head. If you guys ever done Tony Robbins, okay, so there's a question that you ask yourself repeatedly over and over again, like, and normally has about, being enough and are they going to take love away and that sort of stuff. If you can refine that question, you'll go significantly further in terms of, feeling good about yourself and obviously, accomplishing things that you set out to accomplish spiritually and emotionally and that sort of thing, certainly business-wise. Same thing in your business. Mark Zuckerberg's got a primary question: does it help us grow? You come to him, you work for him, you come to him, does it help? He's not worried about finances, not worried about revenues, he's not worried about selling ads. Does it help us grow? Okay, so primary, and then Ramit Semen, I hope I'm saying his name right. The guy, I Will Make You Rich is the name of his book, very popular guy, probably a lot of you on his list. His primary question for a long time was, will it get me on the New York Times bestseller list? Because he knew that if he could accomplish that goal, that, let's just say that compounding effect would start to happen. So that was his goal. My question for you guys is, what's the one question in your business? Like, and it could be, and one of the ones for me, was that a profitable hour for the person I just spoke to? So what is the question that you guys have driving your business? And yeah, like I said, you do have one. I would encourage you to, acknowledge what it is, accept in the fact that it might not be the best question of all time, and that when we adjust it, you adjust those questions, you're going to start adjusting those decisions, and the decisions basically, translate in the trajectory that you're going to follow in terms of your career going in the proper direction. Okay, so where that brings us, action. Who are you going to align with? Who are you going to join forces with? Who are you friending? Remember, guys, what do they say? You are the collection of the top, the 5 people you spend the most time with. Okay, if you take them all, you put them in a blender, people at a possibly a higher level. So tell me, guys, very quickly, I want you to write down, once again, considering fundamental number 1, which is speed. I want to know who it is that you guys are going to align with when you get back. Okay, so now moving on to the third fundamental, influence. Okay, so it puts it, guys, hands up if you own a sales company. Guess whose hand should be going up? Everybody's, right? We're all in the game of sales. In fact, you want an example of that? You ever been on a date? Is that sales? Do some of us have to sell a little harder than others? Most definitely. Okay, so basically, guys, you're in the game of sales. Comes back to kind of that intensity and purpose. Again, when you understand that, everything that you're doing is a big sales game, including, convincing the kids to brush their teeth and go to bed and that sort of stuff. It's just sales 101. So acknowledging that, being proud of that. Like when I automatically, if I would have done it, you've all seen this, no doubt, where you say, look, you think of a salesperson, I automatically think of somebody who's selling insurance and some sort of sleazeball or something like that. It's like, used car sales guy. Like, are you kidding me? We're the influencers of the world. You're in the game of sales. You're in the game of influencing, right? You want to make a dent on the world. You want to, basically, elevate the consciousness of the people around you. Go into the game of influencing, and influencing is just sales 101, right? So again, be proud of it. Goes without saying. If you want to get better at sales, guys, concentrate on this, your offer. Okay, you guys have probably heard me say this at one stage, but change your offer, change your life. Okay, you adjust that offer and things will go, like as an example, guys, the 45-minute turnaround, right? So my name's Karl. I do 45-minute turnarounds. I guarantee to find any small business owner $10,000 in 45 minutes without spending $1 on marketing or advertising. Again, I haven't memorized, I didn't work that out until I got it right. I've memorized it until I can't forget it. Right? You wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, Karl, your elevator pitch. I could spit that out without a hesitation, right? Even, just different things in our system. I mean, I can be speaking to a business coach and doing, a bit of a canned presentation that we have, and I could literally be sending a text message and still talking with a decent level of intensity in my voice and sending a text. I don't know if I should be proud of that, by the way, but that's just the way it is, right? But that's the way that I want you guys to get this thing down, right? Where I want you to understand that, know your elevator pitch, know your close, know your offer at such an intimate level that as you're sitting with somebody, you have them on the phone, you're listening for tonality. You're looking for little cues. You're looking for body language. You're looking for just little cues that are going to allow you to know when to go in and basically ask for the order, and when, by the way, to lay off, and when to provide a little bit of silence, and also when to think maybe a little bit of curiosity is necessary here. But at the end of the day, that's, you change your offer. That elevator pitch of the 45-minute turnaround is nothing more and nothing less than a killer offer, right? Even for our program, when we close it, what we'll do is I'll offer you, we charge $5,000 up front, right? A lot of the time, and I'm guessing a lot of you guys have had this, where we'll say, look, well, don't pay me the $5,000 right now. Pay me $2,500, $2,500 once you've got 25 paying people, and then $2,500 once you've got 50 paying people, or an example like that, right? A lot of people pay us $5,000. In fact, we've sold a $15,000 of what they paid up front, right? But at the end of the day, what's important here is that when I put an offer like that I will cover the upfront fees of $10,000, and then you will pay it off in these increments. The conversions go up on the other end of that, not down. So it's significantly more expensive, and my conversions go up, as opposed to taking away, the $15,000 up front and, only doing a back end. You think about the magic of that. At the end of the day, it's nothing more and nothing less than just an offer that I'm putting in front of you. Right? Make sense? Okay, so, but basically, guys, if you want to take your sales game to an entirely new level, practice and refine and experiment with your offers, and you're going to find that you're going to be, you know, there. And like, how many times have you heard the story where there's a retail shop and there's like an ugly shirt and it's like $65, right? And then the business owner goes, you know what, just for shits and giggles, I'm going to put a 1 there, right? And it's $165, and then what happens within 24 hours? The thing runs out the door because somebody walks in and goes, holy smokes, it's $165. This must be the most amazing system of all time, or the amazing shirt of all time, right? I got to get it out of here quick before somebody else snaps it up. So, you know, adjusting with, you know, or playing with these sorts of things will, without question, will take your sales game to another level, but your ability to influence. Because if you can't close the deal and you can't convince these guys to jump on board with you, you're not going to be able to influence them. You're not being able to, you know, follow through. Think about what your why is. Be able to influence those 250,000, you know, family men that are, you know, family women, mums and dads that are coming home and having to explain to their kids why the business cards are no longer valid. You know, you adjust that offer, you're going to be able to influence some more folks. Target ideal clients, talked about that continually over the mastermind group that we just did a little bit earlier. You want to be going to clients that can afford you. Let me tell you, for you guys, you want to hit multiple 7 figures with your coaching company, target clients that advertise. That's the perfect place. When I used to fill boot camps and whatnot, if they're advertising, they're recognizing a need, they're actually parting with, you know, some dough at the end of the month, and, you know, exchanged a credit card with somebody to go through. So your ideal clients are normally advertising. Or, and again, like if you want a niche, we talked about it a little bit earlier, you know, create a value proposition where there is no price competition at all. That's the most beautiful niche. But also, you know, where do you have passion? What are you good at? Where do you have experience? What have you know, what, when you sit down with somebody, like for the rest of my life, I'm gonna be able to say, I built a $5.5 million coaching company. Right? We used to do $400,000 a month in new small business coaching clients. Well, I coach coaches for a living, right? Again, that, you know, like the ability to be able to say that makes me an organic fit for the niche of business coaches and folks that are wanting to get into business coaching, right? So when you're finding your niche, your ideal clients, when I'm also finding a niche, and if you guys are thinking about this, and I know a lot of you are, the other thing that I like to target and encourage you guys to think about targeting is like a niche where you can get people started. Okay, so like as an example, a chiropractor, you ask somebody if they're like a business coach, if they want a niche, they'll say chiropractor and dentist, like almost with insane consistency, right? So, which is fine. But the idea is I don't necessarily want to go to the dentist because what's in the way of, you know, him basically deciding to be a dentist and then all of a sudden putting up his shingle, like 8 years of school, right? So that's not a good thing. You guys want to become a busining coach and you're a high-flying salesperson, in 90 days I can have you up and cranking. So what I'm getting at there with your